Brian,
Yo, yo.
this may be the most exciting week of the Lootcast in the 95 episodes that we've recorded.
That's saying a lot. We've had some pretty exciting episodes.
Dude, we're going to talk about this at length, but
Okay.
let's give a little teaser trailer to what we got this week from Activision and Bungie.
Yeah.
What
Got
was
a
it?
little something, something.
I feel like we've been invited to the ball, and at midnight, I'm gonna lose a glass slipper, and hopefully Cosmo's gonna hunt me down and put it on my foot. I almost said my
I got
shoe.
invited to hand out drinks. What did you get invited for? I was told I could clean up afterwards.
Oh no, I probably better read my invite again. Ah, this always happens. This always happens. Oh well, hey, guess what?
Yes.
The Lootcast starts now. What is going on? Welcome to episode 95 of the Lootcast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. I've got Destinaut. Dude, I'm so excited. Are you excited?
Yes.
I can see the
Just excitement oozing out of my pores.
yes, it's just oozing.
Mm.
It's oozing. Well, hey,
Yeah, but nothing excites me anymore. Like, it's got to be pretty damn exciting for me to get excited by anything. So that's not saying much that I'm not super excited. Like, a plane has to be, like, flying through my window right now on fire for me to be like, whoa. But I digress.
and that's what's awesome.
Yeah, that's what gets me excited.
Perfect.
Anything Maverick
Okay.
and Top Gun would do, that's what excites me.
Volleyball without a shirt?
I was going to say hooking up with teachers, but yeah, that too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, before we get too far into this, guys, if you'd like to get yourself a free book from Audible, you can go to audibletrial.com/thelootcast, and there you can get yourself a free book. I just finished up Star Wars Aftermath, which had not as much to do with Wedge as I thought it did, and more to do with some other characters. So, good book. Enjoyed it. Had some good Star Wars action. The production value on those things is really good. So, highly recommend those. As always, you know what? If you're a creator, check out The War of Art. It's really good. It's not a very long book. I think it's like a 4-hour read or whatever. Maybe don't waste your free one on that though. Get something really long and expensive, like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or something. So, that's audibletrial.com/thelootcast. Guys, we have a Patreon. If you want to get yourself an extra Destiny podcast each month for $1 or more. That's it. Just $1 or more. You get yourself an extra show. And we really, really appreciate the support of everybody that is already supporting us there. Thank you very much for that. And we also have another podcast called the Nintendo Powercast that you can check out on iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean.
That's one where we review nothing but old Nintendo Power issues, page by page.
Yeah, it's like my Instagram. It's just pictures of old Nintendo Power covers. So
For an hour. Sweet.
Yeah. I do want to say hello to everybody in the chat. I see Jimmy Pike, Henny, Drummer, Ken's. Welcome, guys. I know a few of you guys are just here lurking, and we appreciate you. We do this live at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're a few minutes late because Skype just likes to not work for us. So, literally, I couldn't even call Destinaut tonight because Skype needed an update. Whatever. It's just Skype. It's the way it is. And we had all kinds of interference and cameras not working, and then boom. Magically, it all just seems to fall into place. So, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you about my Saturday morning. Okay. So, and actually, you know what? I'm going to backtrack a little further because last week was probably the most exciting week in the 4 years of me being a content creator.
Really?
Okay. I've had one other exciting night where I was I was an affiliate for a photography book that I sold. I don't even know how many copies of. That was one night. So my phone just kept going da-ding, 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 because I set it up for the Mario coin. And I made like $500 in a night. Right? That was exciting. But as we've been working at this, the Lootcast, the Nintendo Powercast, the lootcave.com, all this stuff. I was on Aim Assist for a while. It sounds like somebody's chopping down woods behind me. That's cool. Just a good time for the lumberjacks to fire up their chainsaws. That's always nice. Makes for great podcast sound. Sorry, guys. But since we've been at this, it's a grind, man. We're here week after week. We love Destiny. We love the community. Jimmy Pikes mentioned in good old Aim Assist. It was there for a while, right? When that was going strong. And we had some good times there. But this last week, I've been putting a fair amount of effort into streaming. And we've, podcasting, episode 95, I'd say we put a little bit of effort into this, right? And I got affiliated with Twitch. I became a Twitch affiliate last week. And that was crazy to me. I didn't think that would happen, right? I didn't think it would happen at all. And so that means I can start getting bits. Eventually I'm going to get a sub button, and I get one emote that I get to have. So that was like, that right there was an amazing week. Let's fast forward to Saturday. Okay. Saturday morning. Yeah. I get to, I get up. I probably played a little bit of Mario Kart on the Switch, and then my wife got up, and we poured our coffee. We went and sat. We actually had a nice morning. We went and sat outside on our porch and drank our coffee. And I didn't take my phone with me. Just took the coffee, and I came in, and I look at my phone, and there's all kinds of notifications, Discord, people chatting in there and stuff. And I happened to notice a message on Twitter from a certain community manager named Cosmo that says,
"Free makeup,
hey,
sweet.
Would you?"
Oh wait, wrong Cosmo.
That says, "Hey, would you be able to make it to the premiere of Destiny 2 on the 18th?" And I was like, bro, there's nothing I would like more than that. And so by that night, and I'm like literally giddy, right? I'm so excited. And by that night, I had the email saying, "You're invited." And I couldn't believe it. I posted on Twitter, and the response were so encouraging and positive. And stuff like, look, you guys have been working so hard, and this and that and this and that. And it was really, really cool to see the community just be so supportive and so happy for us. And so you got an email today as well, right?
Yeah, the same one. I think it's real. I don't know. There's some it's a little legwork you got to do. You got to confirm. I haven't been able to yet, so we'll see. Wouldn't that would be the all-time, like, now would be the time to like do the what was it, like the Indian mail scam or something like that? Now would be the time to just start throwing out fake emails and getting people to send, $1. Just $1. And we'll send you your ticket. Yeah. Need to get on that.
This is what you think of.
Yeah, well. Like I said.
Wait, would that excite you?
That would excite me. Well,
okay,
when people
right.
paid me $1 every time they got my fake email. Yeah, that would excite me. I think you spelled mail wrong, Jimmy. Maybe not. Maybe you did. So yeah, I got mine today. So, and I actually live very close to where it's happening. So close that I know the area, which, I might have to take an Uber because if I drive down there, I'm walking out of that building 8 hours later and not having a car there. If anyone knows Crenshaw Boulevard, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. So, but yeah, came today, right before I got off of work. So I was happy twice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and I wasn't even sure. I messaged Cosmo today and I was like, "Hey, bud, can I get, is it possible to get an invite for the co-host of the Lootcast?" And he's like, "Oh, let me see what I can do. I can't guarantee it." So I was excited to hear that by the time we got on this call, you were official.
Apparently
So
he's got some pull up there.
apparently. So I'm gonna go.
Cool.
I have plane ticket money saved for Guardian Con that I'm gonna have to dip into. I've been working crazy hours so that I'm getting lots of overtime, and so I'm gonna get down there. You and I got to discuss some details so I can figure out what's gonna happen while I'm there, and there's a chance that maybe we can even do a little bit of recording together. You know,
same camera.
So,
when my camera decides to work.
Yeah, we would both be looking really good on that camera, real close up.
Well, I don't have a wider lens, so you might be half you, all me. We'll see what happens.
That's the way we all like it. Yeah. So, but dude, I couldn't believe it, honestly. Like I was speechless seeing. I mean, I've messaged Cosmo a few different times just to say, hey, is there a chance we can get you to come on the show or things like that? And like, he's just been busy and I haven't got a response. And I was like, oh man, I hope everything's kosher. Right. And, to see that message on Saturday morning of all things, I was never expecting that because it's like, why are you working, bro? But I guess it's crunch time for them. Yeah. Right. And, I mean, really getting as many like podcasts and YouTubers and Twitch streamers and stuff there as possible is going to be good for marketing because, I mean, we're all reaching the Destiny community, but we're definitely reaching different places of that Destiny community, different people in that community. And so I'm so excited to get to meet some of the people that are in this community that have been creating content for a very long time. And I think it's going to be a fairly large turnout. Like, it seems like there's a lot of people, like more and more invites have been going out every day. I saw the Blue Ranger who was on here. He got invited. I know the Destiny Reset podcast is going. I
think Black Bear, who we just had on, is going.
Did she get an invite? I saw she posted.
I think so. And I know She Snaps is going. Because I was in her stream where she was like, should I ask for money? I don't know. And then she like puts a little like, a little bar up, a little progress bar. And it's like, okay, I guess she's going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know Guardian Outpost got an invite and, but he's not quite sure if he's gonna be able to make it. I did set up a GoFundMe. I'll throw it in the show notes for this if anybody wants to try to help him get there. True Vanguard's going. Yeah, there's so many people.
Did we say Guardian
there's so
Radio?
many people.
I think most of them are going.
Yeah, I know K-Dub is going. I saw his
Mark
invite. I'm pretty sure.
He has work. I think Bell's like a 90% yes, and Bife. I don't know. Bife was probably the first ticket that went out.
Right. He probably got one of those cool invitations. But I saw like Say No to Rage. He was all stoked about his, and T-Rex, and I'm sure I'm assuming Broman and Goth, but I actually haven't heard or seen. So, it's gonna be really cool, and it's an 8-hour event, right? So, I'm assuming capture cards and getting to play the game, and Triple Rec, of course, which. I think he meant to say Datto, and it came out Dayton.
Daytona. Yeah, tell me what game that's from, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Quite a few people though. It's kind of nuts. I can't go 5 minutes on Twitch without someone new just going like, "Yes, I got my invite." So that's awesome. That the place itself, from what I understand, it's pretty big. So they should have room for a lot of people.
that's sweet. That's good to hear. I mean, honestly, the more people there, the better. It's gonna just spread like wildfire, right? I mean, that live stream is gonna be so crazy. It's gonna be so crazy, and I don't know. I'm like, I'm nervous and excited. Like, what do you? I don't even know what to expect. You know,
I'm
because
expecting we'll have to wear some type of light up vest like that one Microsoft event that one time. That'd be sweet. And then they put it up as a commercial, probably without consent forms.
as long as I get to keep the vest.
Yeah.
You know.
And then you can stream with it.
Look like a construction worker or something, like a road worker.
Reject.
So, but man, I'm beyond thrilled. Like, it's going to be so cool to have like just firsthand experience with the game to bring back to the guys in the clan, you know, to everybody that listens to this. Like, it's just it's going to be a blast. And you know, they're saying, like Henny's saying, record all you can. Like everything will be recorded, like everything. If like I said, I'm assuming we're going to be able to get gameplay, which will mean YouTube videos. You know, there'll be written stuff. There'll be, I mean, we'll be knocking it out of the park, and you know, hopefully even recording a show like right after or soon there. You know, maybe the next day or whatever. It is a little unfortunate. It falls right on a Thursday because it's like right in the. It's the work week.
Plans these things. I mean, I guess for them, they come down on Wednesday. They do their show. And that's probably like, you know, a cram fest on Wednesday for them to get all their, you know, everything they bring down from Seattle. Or who knows, maybe they're like, you know, they're down here already setting stuff up. Who knows? But then they got to do the event on Thursday. Then I'm assuming they got to get all their junk back on Friday, you know, so that no one has to work the weekend, or, you know, maybe they do. I don't know. But yeah, it's like Thursday, really. So like, if I want to have a really good time, I have to take Friday off too. You know, like, it's like, man. So, yeah.
We may or may not record that show.
So yeah, yeah, Thursday is kind of a bummer, but it'll be cool. I've never actually gone to anything like this, so it'll be cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I remember watching like Apple keynotes and things like that, and always wondering, like, who gets invited to these? Like, how do you get invited to these things, right? And then basically to get invited to the Destiny 2 keynote, I was like, that's how you do it. You just
know someone that knows someone.
Yeah, put in the time, and man, it's paying off, dude. We're gonna be with Destiny 2 firsthand, the first time it's available for anybody to play. I can't even believe those words are coming out of my mouth. I'm so
I hope it's
stoked.
not the last time I play it. Hopefully I don't get in there and I'm playing it and I'm like, really? 3 years? I suddenly have to go to wash my hair. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to put you in some kind of like anti-salt suit, so like everything.
Though, maybe that's how we make it big. I'll be the first person to get kicked out of the event. Put us on everyone's radar.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Please, let's not. So, that's it. That's the show, guys. We're that's all we got. No, I'm just kidding. This, you know, there's not been a ton of of Destiny 2 news or anything like that. We're kind of waiting for the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that we're getting like people are getting these invites, that kind of stuff. It's awesome. But I'm seeing the typical Destiny trend right now where, like, you know, we're seeing people finish up their Age of Triumph books. I still haven't played. I want to. I just Mario Kart came out and I even put a poll up on Twitter like, hey, what should I stream? And Mario Kart was like 53% of the votes, and so I went with it. But yeah, Jimmy Pike saying content lull, right? And so we're seeing the salt, we're seeing the kind of the toxic side of the community come out, and so yeah, Jimmy says they couldn't have timed the reveal any better, and that's no joke. Like, that's going to get people hyped again. It's going to get people jumping back into the game because it's just for some reason as gamers, it's just what we do. It's like we hear a little bit about a sequel to a game and we're like, I got to go back and play the first one. You know, like I got to keep going on the first one for a little bit more, especially a game like this where you can and still have some stuff to do. I have one raid left to get the challenge mode on, right? And I got Crucible stuff. I've got stuff I can do. I've just been playing so much Nintendo that I'm just like, I don't even know. Can I still do a first person shooter? It's been nothing but like Mario Kart and Mario games and stuff lately. So it'll be fine though. We'll get back in there. But what I'm seeing is like, I'm seeing people complain about the meta in the Crucible, and I even watched Fallout. I was watching Fallout plays for a little while on Sunday while I was doing some graphic design work, and he was not a happy camper.
Really?
And he wasn't like salty or being negative or anything like that, but basically he had to get he had a sniper bounty, I believe. And so because of that, he had to use Icebreaker. Mm-hmm. And that meta is it's kind of starting to drive people crazy. So basically what happens, you start off your game, as soon as you die you lose your special, right?
Yeah.
So the sniper he wanted to use, he couldn't. He had to go back to Icebreaker, and he was like, this is not fun for me. I don't like the way Icebreaker plays. Like, for me, Icebreaker's a PvE weapon. That's like what it was. Weapon. Yeah, and so so the question I had, and so basically people are saying like, look, the meta is like Icebreaker and sticky nades, and that's it. And you know, you got True Vanguards putting out videos, and there's people being salty about that. Like, looking at like Triple Rec putting up some tweets talking about it. Like, again, like Bungie is doing everything they can to balance this game, and it still ends up falling into like a 3-gun meta, or, you know, a 1-gun meta. Like, the thing that everybody seems to be talking about is that nobody's using primaries at all. Yeah. Nobody's using the primaries. And I feel like the whole point of the last update was to get people using primaries, and they're not. They're not.
Yeah, I think that goes... This is how I feel about not just Destiny PvP, but literally every single PvP that's probably come out in the last more or less 10 years. And that is, a developer creates the game. They want it to flow a certain way. They create these maps that have a certain flow to them. We saw this a lot, especially with like the Halo 5 dev diaries, where they're like, we're going to bring in MLG guys, and they're just going to play test this thing over and over and over again. And I think I think the issue is they're so close to the product that when they release it out into the wild, everyone plays it like the complete opposite way of how they just play tested it for the last like 2 years. And suddenly everything's broken and nothing like works, you know? It's like, why is this the meta? Wait, we try to make everything balanced. How come everyone's using auto rifles? It's just one of those things, you know? You can create something to be a certain way all you want, but the second you kind of release it off into the wild, it's like the Wild West. So, we kind of talked about it in the past couple episodes about like the different weapons and possibly even doing like, you know, PvP, non-PvP weapons. We also brought up like it's almost like there's seasons, you know? So like this season right now, certain weapons are kind of the go-to. And you just mentioned True Vanguard doesn't like the fact that he has to play with a certain sniper rifle he feels. Well, I kind of feel like that's just kind of the competitive nature if they're going to be constantly changing the meta. You might not like it, but I think to be competitive, there's only a handful of weapons that are probably considered top tier. And if they give you even the slightest advantage, you're just going to have to go with it, you know? You might not like doing it, but if being a slide shotgunner is going to get you to the lighthouse, you just got to slide shotgun all day long, you know? You might not like the triple sow cow, but if you want gold, you better pull it out. If you know your ice skating references.
Yeah, and I do want to make sure that we're clear. A lot of these tweets are from the weekend. This is from the Trials community, right? You know, because like we got Subcult 619 joining us right now, and he said,
I like how you're like, the Trials community. Ugh.
Oh, I hope that didn't have a derogatory term or tone. That wasn't my my intention, but. Oh, great. The Trials community. Get your pinkies out. But he says, I don't know who these people are, finger quotes there, because my Suros regime has been getting some work in the Crucible, which is, which is cool. That's a good thing. I believe watching Fallout though, he was just playing. I think he was just playing Clash. They weren't even playing Trials. Because he was just trying to do bounties. That's all he wanted to do was bounties. And it was like watching a player of his caliber just get frustrated. You know, like it made me feel bad because it was just like, oh man, this, like, there used to be a fair amount of variety.
Yeah.
And then the Matador took away all of the variety.
Matador, that thing was just weird. I feel pre-Matador, and this is very close to Vanilla Destiny, I personally never had an issue with balance to a degree. I do know that there were certain weapons that were better than the others, and maybe I just didn't have those weapons. For example, I know the day I got the Suros, I was literally about to jump off PvP for the night, and I was like, all right, I'm done, I'm going to bed. Boom, it drops for me, and I'm like, oh, I've been wanting that thing, I gotta play one more round. At this time, not that I'm awesome now, but I was like, I would say just below average player. You know, like my KD was like a 0.9 or a 0.8. I get the Suros, the next two maps in a row, I'm top of the server. So it's like, okay, I'm not playing way better. It's just this gun happens to be a better quality than what I was previously using. So I'm not saying that there weren't unbalanced or weren't balancing issues, but after the whole like shotgun multi-roll debacle of whatever year that happened, dude, it just I got very frustrated with PvP because, you know, when you're just getting shotgunned around every single corner. You know, you're like, why am I playing this? And maybe that's how Fallout feels right now. Not Fallout, but True Vanguard. Because I hated shotguns. I hated using them. I hated getting shot by them, and it was super frustrating.
And I remember that feeling in year one with fusion rifles. I remember thinking, like, I'm not going to switch to that weapon. That weapon seems like the easy button, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to continue using my sniper, and my last word, or whatever I had at the time, the last word was like my only exotic. So that's why I was using it. And then it turns out that hey, this thing's actually super OP in the long run, and it was actually broken and had a glitch and that kind of thing. And so, or a bug but man, I felt like the fusion rifle was just every corner I would turn around, it was like voop, dead, voop, dead. And I'm like, that got frustrating, you know? So, and, let's see here. I'm going to read a few comments from the chat here. Subcult again says, even in trials, I will admit to my double skips, but if you're going to take the chase, you better dodge my skips. Right. And Drummer says, Jimmy again says, Jimmy Pike, but at this point, I've come to peace with the fact that Destiny 1 is Dead Man Walking. It's all about Destiny 2. And so, you know, I mean, and I think that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I want to finish this book, and when I'm done with the Age of Triumph, I will I probably won't really touch Destiny 1 again, you know. And the way I want to finish the book, I don't even know that I necessarily want to stream it. I may just kind of get some guys together and just kind of go like, hey, let's just yeah. So I started reading Drummer's comment, and he's like, no, read my comment. Don't you skip it because it's all salt. I'm skipping it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Destiny 1 getting towards the end of its, I guess, shelf life, my only concern is what state are they going to leave it in? Because we always hear from companies like, oh, just because the new one's out doesn't mean we're going to stop support for the old product. And that lasts about a year, and then, you know, they move on. Oh, or if you're EA, 2 months later, you shut the server down. So I'm just wondering what state they're going to leave it in, being that the game was constantly evolving. You know, are they gonna go back every 6 months and just be like, yo, we only have, you know, 2 peer-to-peer servers up right now, but hey guys, we're gonna balance those for you. You know, like, so I'm kind of wondering how that's all gonna go, being that I felt throughout Destiny's life, every time they'd come out with not necessarily a game of the year edition, but you know, they'd always come out with like, oh, for right now this is the complete package. You know, and then later on a new DLC would come out, and it's like, okay, this is the complete package. But at some point, they're not going to keep, you know, you're going to get this is the complete package, and that's just going to be the state that it's in. So it's wondering, I find it interesting to see where they end up settling on the PvP portion of it, to where 5 years from now, someone wants to go back and play, you know, Destiny 1. Like, what's the PvP gonna be like? You know, if it was up to me, I'd just throw the switch and be like, guess what? Boom, here's vanilla Destiny back.
Yeah, PvP, here's Thorn and Last PvP, Word. You know, have fun.
Yeah, like hey, wherever it is, that's where it is, and that's it.
Here's Vex in all of its glory.
But I think when it comes to a PvP community, a lot of PvP players seem to migrate to the latest and greatest. You know, so if you're a huge PvP fan of Destiny, I see you jumping to Destiny 2 very quickly. But Destiny as a whole, I see the player base jumping over very quickly. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's gonna stick to the same kind of pattern, one, we need to eliminate weapons that regenerate ammo. As cool as that is for PvE, it's ruining PvP. Right? If Icebreaker wasn't there, you would continue to see sidearms, but I think you would see more uh, more primary kills.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the weapons that regenerate ammo and Icebreaker being the best one, it has to go away. You can't get away from these seasons or these kind of metas if you leave a weapon that is basically OP because it's the one weapon that can continue to get ammo when every other gun is out. Every other special is out. You're out of special until you go and pick it up, unless you're using Icebreaker. And so, I got a question from Subcult that says, "Will I delete Destiny 1 from my hard drive once Destiny 2 launches?" Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm a guy that will still go back and play NES games. So I'm not angry with Destiny 1. I'm not like, good riddance, let's get this thing out of here. I have a feeling there's going to be the periodic like Friday night where everybody's like, hey, let's go jump back into year 1. I remember doing that with Gears of War when Gears of War 2 came out, right? And still playing the first Gears. Yeah. And even like Halo 2, Halo 3, like jumping back onto the old Xbox to play some Halo 2, or when it became backwards compatible, on the 360. Like I'm all about going back and reliving some of those things. But when we go and do things like that, where it's like the almost like the couch like LAN party, where we get a bunch of people in the same party and we all just go and play together. Like, I don't think a lot of us are really interested at that point in the meta. We're just interested in having fun, and so that's also different, because when you jump into the Crucible now, you want to be the most competitive state you can be. Well, that means you have to play with the guns that everybody is using, which is then turning this game into Halo, because you're only using 3 weapons basically. Right. And I'm somewhat generalizing, of course, but I mean that's what happens with these seasons and with the meta. And I mean, at the very least, I hope that if the trend continues with Destiny 2, that we're going to do these seasons and there's going to be a meta, that meta is going to have twice the weapons. So it's like, hey, you know what? If I want to go auto rifle shotgun, that's still going to be a viable choice. Or scout rifle shotgun, so I have my distance and my close range, right? Or I want to go pulse rifle fusion. Like, the goal would be to really see a plethora, right, to choose from, where you could still run each one, but and again, we have no clue. It's almost like they're hitting reset, right? Because they've taken our vaults away, or they've blown the vault up, they've taken all of our weapons, and so it's probably the best thing that could happen with Destiny 2 is that we don't have any of those guns. Like, I know people are kind of pissed because, like, oh, I worked hard for this and I finally got it, and here's my story, or I just bought it from Xur or whatever, we can't have those guns. Like, we can't have those guns creating the same meta they created for the last 3 years. Like, I feel like, especially now that the meta is what it is, sticky nades, icebreaker, and sidearms, people are going to be ready. They're going to be, maybe that's Bungie's plan. Like, hey, we're pushing you to Destiny 2. That's why the meta is what it is. They knew all along.
Yeah, and who knows? Like you said, they're kind of hitting the reset button. We may get a different weapon system entirely. We may get less weapons, but then they might go with like what some games have done, where you've got tons of attachments. We just don't know. So it could be, and that could even fit the lore. They're like, well, the tower's blown up, so we really only have these 4 variants of auto rifle, but we got 1,000 different scopes and silencers and forearm grips, and you never know. We really won't know until May 18th, possibly longer than that. Yeah, we don't know. Everyone jokes around that this was the beta, but they might they might be hopefully they shake some things up, because I would really hate for Destiny 2 to be Destiny 1 in 4K, where they don't improve anything and it just gets a visual upgrade and sells like crazy and the investors are happy. I would really, really like to see this be a change from 1. Just be a change, you know. Let's shake things up. Let's maybe take the good and throw away the bad. That's probably wishful thinking, but yeah, we'll see what we get.
I mean, look, there's a ton of good, and people that say this game's a beta. I know I've even said it before, like, hey, we're just playing the beta. It's the best beta I've ever played, if we're gonna say that, right? I mean, and look, Bungie had to take a risk. We've said that before, that it's like they had to take a risk on this game, and then we found out along the way that a lot of things changed story-wise, and Activision kind of got their hands into the mix and all that kind of stuff. And so I know I would say that the Bungie that we've known since the days of Halo is about putting out an incredible shooter that that we want to play for a long period of time, right? I mean, they put the love into Halo, right? The story and everything, but the PvP is where that game shined. I mean, Bungie knows PvP. Yeah. They know it better. They know it better than. I mean, basically, I don't even know that we would have the Call of Duty we have if it hadn't been for Halo, right? And the things that those guys were able to glean from what Halo did, and especially Halo 2 and matchmaking and all that other stuff. Bungie knows PvP. Destiny 1 wasn't their best showing of PvP. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It
the ghost bullets and everything else.
Some respects. It was, especially coming from the Halo games, where like you said, each one was kind of like building upon what came before it, and then in this one, it was suddenly like, well, even the game itself, where like. In Destiny, or not Destiny, in the Halo games, it's like, oh, I can kick somebody off a pike and steal it, and whatever, and in this game, it's like, what? I can't kick anybody off anything, and oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever, It just, I think maybe some of us, or a lot of us, maybe, we're looking at Destiny as being built off of Halo, and when they took a step back in some regards, it was almost like, wait a minute, like. It seems like we got a lot more than this from the past games. But really, Destiny was starting fresh. I don't know how much of what they did in the Halo games, what they were even able to carry over. I've read a lot of stuff about like behind the scenes stuff where, like, let's say, and I'm just going to throw companies out here, but I'm using this just as an example, like, if you work at Microsoft and you're part of the game division and you build this tech and you're like, oh, this will work perfect for this style of game, but then you leave Microsoft, you go work for another company, technically Microsoft owns what you created at Microsoft because they were paying you to create stuff. So I don't know, like, for example, how much of what they put into Halo does Microsoft own? And then they turn around and go to make Destiny, and they're like, hey, we want to use that tech. I'm like, well, remember, we created that back at Microsoft, and they own that tech. We can't just use it, because then it's like ripping them off. So, yeah, maybe in some regards their hands were tied, and they probably had to go in and create this entire new engine, and everything had to be created fresh. Add on top of that, you're making a new IP. Add on top of that, you're with a new, they're now with Activision. So there was probably a lot of things going into a brand new IP. Not saying that that's never been heard of or done before, but you hear a lot of horror stories sometimes about this same situation, and you get games like, what was that, Hive for the PS3? You know, like, sometimes you get that, and then it kills a studio. So, yeah, it could have gone a lot worse. A lot worse.
And I do want to, like, I feel like we're kind of like on the negative side of things, talking about PvP and whatnot. But I mean, some of that is because
we sink into PvP.
Yeah, it still was a ton of fun.
As much as we want to sit here and be like,
right?
The PvP sucks, dude. Like, whatever. Everyone here probably dropped at least 200 hours into it.
Yeah. It was still a ton of fun. It still lived up to the Bungie name. But as far as like, getting really competitive or having like some really big epic big team battles and that kind of stuff, that's kind of the stuff that was lacking, you know. And I want to point out, like Henny said, like, look, it was great PvE making raids work in first person, right? And that was some of the, like, honestly, some of the best time in gaming was doing the raids and like working together as a team and having to communicate. Like, it literally forced you to use your microphone. And if you didn't succeed. It was that simple. Like, if you didn't communicate and you didn't work together, this wasn't going to work out. Right. Unless you were a self-res warlock and could solo everything yourself, then, that's a different story. But, they did a lot of good things. Mm-hmm. They did a lot of good things. We wouldn't be talking about a game. We wouldn't be almost 100 episodes into a podcast if this wasn't a good game. Right? It's a great game. It's just run its course. You know? It's just run its course. I mean, 3 years. I can't tell you the last game I played for like 3 years and have this amount of time into it.
Mario Kart?
Not even close.
Really?
Not even close. I checked my hours on Mario Kart on my Wii. I had 119 hours.
I've played a lot of MMORPGs in the past, so I can't really say that this is them. But that's probably the only other type of game that I've sunk that much time into.
Yeah, and I mean, those games are, I mean, that's what influence the stuff. And they've influenced Destiny in that way, you know, games like World of Warcraft and whatnot. But they did it in a hybrid style, and they really pulled off a lot of stuff. Like, even if this game was a beta, there was a lot of things they did right. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's easy for us to. It's probably easier for us to kind of like look at the negative and pick apart the things that we don't like, because at the end of the day, the PvP is what we have left.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's like, I want this to still be a lot of fun and still have that draw, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't at this point.
But you know what, N64, Josh?
What's that?
We don't have to wait much longer because Destiny 2 is coming out this year.
That's right.
And then we get to complain about it. No, I'm just kidding. No, like we said earlier, they're dropping this reveal May 18th. Kind of at the perfect time. They're gonna put it out. We're gonna love it, and then I'm predicting that in between this reveal and what did they say the exact date? I know it's September, but did they say the exact date it's coming out in September? Have they said that yet? Anyways,
I thought it was September 8th, which was like a Friday, which that was also confusing for some people, I think.
Games come out on Fridays now, people. AAA titles.
Sometimes.
Fridays.
Well, all Nintendo games do.
Yeah. I'm not confused by that. I'm confused
first
about other
Nintendo
things in my
games.
life, but not that. So, yeah, so I think we're going to get a lot of the Destiny streams on Twitch, and, E3's coming soon. So, I think they got the perfect timing to just kind of give us a nice little scheduled info from here until September, which isn't too far away. What, 5 months? 4 months.
Yeah, it'll be here
before we know it.
It'll be here before we know it. The chat is cracking me up. They're like, "You have one job, guys. When you get there, tell them not to reveal too much."
I'll tell them right before the right before they go live. Hey guys, just tone it down.
Don't tell us too much.
Don't
tell us too much. Wib keeps saying, "Turn FaceTime on for us." Like he wants me I'll just broadcast from Twitch IRL, so we can.
I'll make sure to wear a T-shirt with a pocket, and just put my phone right there. Like no, it's my pocket protector. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what do you do, Josh? What do you do if we show up, we're there, and they're just like, "We're gonna tell you guys everything"? Do you just like plug your ears and go like la 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 like for the next 8 hours?
Yeah,
the guy
that'll be me.
Like true vanguards are like, "Shut up." That's the other thing. I want to know who I'm sitting next to. Hey, bro, who are you again? I don't know you. Yeah.
Why do I have a feeling that will happen the first time when we get to the place? I'll be like, "Where'd Destinot go? Where do you leave me?" So I did get some advice from her name is Jess on Twitter. She always has all these really cool like Zelda cross-stitch things, and she's very active in the Destiny community. It's like crafting chick or crafting gal, or I can't remember her actual. No, it's she does cool stuff too though, and she's like, don't be like she went and did something with Bungie for one of the Destiny 1 reveals, and she's like, don't stand in the corner and be a wallflower like I was. Like that was the one thing she told me like
today. The tweet.
Yeah, and so, and I'm too outgoing. That wouldn't be the case, but like, it's gonna be somewhat overwhelming, like just standing with all those cool people and watching this game that we're so hyped for. It's just I don't know, man. I can't wait. And I'm it's looking like everything's gonna work out, and so I'm pumped. So, but hey, let's put a bow on this thing, man. And 2 weeks, guys, we will be talking about Destiny 2 and what our first impressions are.
Hated it. No, just kidding.
Well, it'll be a little longer than 2 weeks, but a little bit. But right around when you're listening to this, it'll be really close to 2 weeks. So I do want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Wib081, Drummer, Henny, Jimmy, Subcult, anybody else that I missed that's hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you guys. The ones that are just lurking, thank you so much. We're really glad you're here. And Destinot, where can we find you, man?
People can find me on Twitch. No, you can't actually. You can find me on Twitter at DestinotTLC. You can find me here Tuesday nights at twitch.tv/thelootcave. 7 p.m. Pacific time, talking about Destiny, and 9 o'clock Pacific time, talking Nintendo.
Right on. I want to mention Crane, my Crane wife, hanging out here as well. Yeah. So thank you, my man. Guys, you can find me on Twitter at N64Josh. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Everything's N64Josh, like everything. So Farmers Only is N64Josh. I don't even know Snapchat. I don't really use that thing, but MySpace. Yeah. So, but also, guys, no, not Tinder. I saw somebody just post Tinder in the chat there. Definitely not Tinder. audibletrial.com/thelootcast. Get yourself a free audiobook and help support this show. We really, really appreciate that. Reaper Miss Prime, thanks for being here, dude. Farmers only, Christian Mingle. Oh my gosh. Timber for lumberjacks only. Oh man. The dad jokes are flowing. Patreon.com/thelootcast. $1 or more gets you an extra Destiny podcast. It helps support us. We thank you for that. Everybody that already supports us, we thank you. iTunes reviews. If you guys have a second, you can leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. We'd really, really appreciate that. We have 5 episodes till episode 100. I cannot believe that. I do want to mention real quickly that if you're into Destiny lore, Bife has been putting out some pretty killer videos, and I will include the link to his latest one in these show notes, which you'll find at thelootcave.com/episode 95. Again, thanks for being here, guys. Destinat, thanks, my dude.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.